Arizona desert about Phoenix, there's an abandoned hospital that most locals refuse to talk about. Not because it's haunted, but because of what people hear there. I found out about it from a gas station clerk where I was passing through town late at night. I mentioned I was filming abandoned places, and he immediately told me one place I shouldn't go. An old medical center that shut down in the early 1990s. He said people who explore it always report the same thing. Voices coming from empty rooms, not echoes, not wind, actual conversations. The strange part, the hospital has been completely empty for decades. Naturally, I had to see it myself. The building sat alone in the desert, surrounded by cracked asphalt and sand that had slowly swallowed the old parking lot. The windows were either broken or boarded up, and the faded hospital sign was barely readable anymore. But one thing stood out immediately. The emergency room entrance doors were open, wide open. As if someone had walked in recently. Inside, the air was stale and hot, like the building had been baking under the desert sun for years. Dust covered everything: wheelchairs, hospital beds, old equipment. It looked like the staff had left in a hurry. Half-filled patient charts still sat on the front desk. I started walking down the main hallway, long, silent, too quiet. My flashlight passed room numbers painted along the walls: 101, 102, 103. Most of the doors were open. Inside were empty hospital beds and rusted medical carts. But when I reached room 108, I stopped because the door was closed, and I could hear something coming from the other side. At first, I thought it was just the wind moving through the building. Then I listened more carefully and realized it wasn't wind. It was two people talking, low voices, like a doctor and a patient having a quiet conversation. I stood there for a full minute, trying to understand what they were saying, but every time the words almost became clear, the voices stopped, then started again, like a broken recording. Finally, I slowly pushed the door open. The room was completely empty. No people, no equipment, nothing. Just a single hospital bed in the center of the room, and something strange written on the wall above it. 3 words, written in black marker, still in treatment. That's when I heard the voices again, this time from the hallway behind me. The voices were clearer now, definitely 2 people, one calm, one weak. I slowly stepped back into the hallway and turned my flashlight toward the direction the voices were coming from. Nothing. The hallway was completely empty, but the voices were still there, right around the corner. "We can't stop now," one of them said. The other voice sounded exhausted. "Please, I just want to go home." The words made my stomach tighten, because this didn't sound like random noise anymore. It sounded like a doctor and a patient. I followed the voices down the corridor. Each step echoed loudly in the silence of the hospital. As I got closer to the corner, the voices suddenly stopped, just like before. The hallway went dead quiet again. I turned the corner slowly and froze. At the end of the hallway was a nurse station. Old medical files were scattered across the desk. Dust covered everything, but one thing didn't match the rest of the abandoned hospital. A light was on, a small desk lamp glowing softly in the darkness. My heart started pounding. There was no electricity in the building. I walked toward the desk carefully. The lamp flickered as I approached, casting long shadows across the walls. Next to it was a patient file sitting open. The paper looked newer than everything else around it, like someone had placed it recently. At the top of the file was a patient name. I leaned closer to read it, and my blood ran cold because the name written there was mine. My full name, perfectly spelled. Below it was a short note typed in red ink: "Patient admitted tonight." I stood there frozen, staring at the page. That's when something behind me moved, very slowly. A hospital bed wheel squeaked. I turned around. At the far end of the hallway, one of the empty beds had rolled slightly into the corridor, just enough for me to see something sitting on it. Someone, a figure in a hospital gown, head lowered, completely still. Then the calm voice spoke again, right beside my ear. Good. You made it back to your room. My body froze. The voice was right beside me. But when I turned, there was no one there, just the empty nurse station and the flickering desk lamp. Slowly, I looked back toward the hospital bed at the end of the hallway. The figure was still sitting there, head lowered, completely motionless. My instinct told me to leave immediately, but something about the situation felt wrong, not supernatural, structured, like something was repeating. I forced myself to walk toward the bed. Each step made the rusty wheels squeak slightly as if the bed was shifting closer. 10 feet away. The figure hadn't moved. 5 feet away. Still no movement. Finally, I lifted the flashlight and aimed it directly at the person sitting there, and my heart nearly stopped. The bed was empty. The hospital gown was laid out perfectly, as if someone had just been sitting there seconds ago. I backed away slowly. That's when I heard the calm voice again, but this time it wasn't in the hallway. It was coming from a speaker above the ceiling, patient experiencing confusion. Another voice answered, memory loops still active. My chest tightened. Speaker, memory loop. Suddenly every light in the hallway flickered on at once. Bright white lighting flooded the corridor. The dust was gone, the broken walls were gone. Everything looked operational, clean, functional, like a working hospital. I heard footsteps rushing toward me. Two people in medical coats ran into the hallway. One of them looked directly at me, then had the clipboard in his hand, and nodded slowly. He's awake again. My heart was racing. What are you talking about? I said. The doctor sighed. You don't remember, do you? He turned the clipboard around and showed it to me. At the top was a patient name, mine. Below, it was a diagnosis: severe trauma, memory reconstruction therapy. I stared at him in disbelief. This hospital shut down in the 90s, I said. The doctor shook his head. No. Then he pointed behind me, at the hallway I had just walked through, but it wasn't the same hallway anymore. The doors were sealed with metal panels. Warning signs were everywhere. Research wing, restricted access. The doctor spoke again, quietly. The hospital closed to the public, but the experiments never stopped. He looked down at his clipboard again, then back at me. And every night, you wake up in room 108 and try to escape. My stomach dropped. Escape from what? The doctor didn't answer. Instead, he pressed a button on the wall, and suddenly the lights went dark again. The hallway returned to the dusty, abandoned ruin I had seen when I first walked in. The doctor's voice echoed through the ceiling speaker one last time. Calm, cold, beginning treatment cycle again. And somewhere behind me, I heard two people talking in room 108.